Are we streaming? Are we live? Hi, everyone. Hello. Are we streaming? Oh, yeah. Hello, everyone. Hi. Hi, hi, hi. I am so sorry for how impromptu this is. You're going to have to bear with me. Don't worry, I'm going to address the elephant in the room. Just trying to get everybody online. Those of you that are online, I will admit this is a bit of a coward's way out. I could have streamed earlier, but I went hiking today. I finally got into a hiking routine, and there's dinner. We had Nigerian tapas dinner, which was great. And I was actually planning on doing this on Sunday, but I said, nah, let me do it tonight. Because, like I said, my body has now got into a rhythm and I want to maintain it. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I know this is late. Many of you may not catch this live, but how's everybody doing? Let me start there first before I start explaining myself. It's been a few weeks since I've streamed last. Life, guys. I went through a moment of I'm at that age in my life where when I go through these moments, I allow myself to feel these feelings, which is not healthy, of course. And it shouldn't have gone on as long as it did, but it did. And this is what happens when you don't take your vitamins. So here is my advice for everybody as you get older. Take your vitamins and don't allow yourself to get too overwhelmed. It's easier said than done, but please don't allow yourself. I made a very foolish mistake 3 weeks ago, which I regret. So some things were happening in my house, things were happening in my life. I really should have followed the routine I follow when I feel myself getting overwhelmed. And I didn't. And I crashed out. I didn't take my vitamins. My body was freezing, which is a sign of low iron. And I was just in a miserable place. And of course, my bad diet, I'm supposed to be dieting, completely messed up my diet. So I'm going to use the few moments that we have where I do my icebreaker to just talk about very quickly the bad decisions I made, bad choices. So I allowed my brain to become overwhelmed. I could barely move. I went to work, but I was going through the motions. Now that summer is here proper, or at least it's starting to get here proper, I'm back to a good routine now. I'm taking my vitamins. I started doing my proper hikes. And I think the things when you go through that overwhelming moment of depression, bad eating habits, which further stress you out because you know you shouldn't be eating that way, then that's a burden. Now, like I said, the best way for someone like me to manage that is exercise and a routine. I'm back on that routine now. So I want to apologize to everyone for not being available. Like I said, life lifed. And I didn't want to come online again until I was sure I could be consistent. So please bear with me, guys. Unfortunately, doing this YouTube thing is not a primary source of income for me. I have a life, I have businesses, I have things to do, I have family to take care of. So I had to take some time when I got overwhelmed to reevaluate. Like I said, let my body feel what I was feeling and get back into it. And also, it's quite coincidental because I also wanted the Harry and Meghan Australian tour to happen because I knew that we would have a wealth of content full of bitching and complaining. But, ladies and gentlemen, nothing could have prepared me for the sheer volume of bitchery and complaint. I knew there would be complaining. I knew there would be bitching. But sweet Beyonce's internet, I was not expecting this amount, this volume. If you see the amount of content we're going to go through today, I don't even, you might, and let me apologize in advance because there will be some repetition. Guys, I think this tour broke the royal voters' brains. I think they are literally, what we are living through right now is pure psychosis. It's psychosis. This is insanity. It's insanity. The hell? Did they want Harry and Meghan to get shot? Was that the plan? Maybe that was the plan. Maybe that's what they are hoping for. And guys, more and more you listen to these royal rota people bitch and complain, you realize that this has nothing to do with the king or the queen or maintaining any historical integrity. And this has everything to do with the fact that Harry and Meghan have been able to carve out a very successful lane to modern royalty, which I personally don't think should exist, by the way. But whatever it is they've been able to carve out has not only been independent, consistent, and successful, but it has been done without any need to engage with the royal rota. That is what all the bitching is about, ladies and gentlemen. That is what the bitching is about. That is it, literally. The royal rota, everything they are doing is for them. It has nothing to do with preserving the history. It has nothing to do with preserving tradition. It is because Harry and Meghan have become the most lucrative members of the royal family, and the British media cannot profit from it. Boom. All the stupid books they write, nobody is reading it, because if I want to hear third-hand stories from your Ouija board speaking with the queen that has been dead from 4 years ago, I just need to go and read Harry's book. I mean, it's so desperate now. But you know what? I don't have a script. I'm just going to go through. The purpose of this thing is to quickly is to do a quick recap of the wildly and not unexpected success of the Sussex's Australian tour, catch up on some of the developments that have been happening since I've been gone. And we're going to start off by setting the mood correctly by listening to a nice compilation done by Feminigra of the bitching and complaining of the royal route. Like I said, apologies if you see me repeating some of this stuff. It's because it is too sweet to. We have to laugh at these clowns, because imagine you've spent a decade attacking somebody. You've put all the things that you've literally built an international industry of harassment and racism, and it's not working. Shit, I'd be upset. I would be pissed off if the as they say, if you're a religious person, this is something Nigerians say a lot. I would be pissed off too if the stone the builder rejected has become the cornerstone. I would be pissed too. I would be pissed. You harassed this woman, and yes, I am referring to Megan. You've no, actually no, let me bring Harry into it. You've been harassing Harry since he was 12 and younger, I'm sure. You've been terrorizing this child who grew into a young man, who grew into a man, found a woman he loves. You tried to chase her away. You mocked and insulted her, did everything you could to insult their children, put their safety on the line because they wouldn't fall, because you were angry, you were resentful that a woman who isn't thirsty for your validation is who the person you thought Harry was not going to ever get is who he got. And not only did he get her, she was able to help him find a sense of self-respect and dignity in himself. You hate that. You hate the person that you had set aside for a lifelong episode or episodes of harassment, was able to find somebody who pushed him to get out of a deeply dysfunctional and abusive situation, thrive, succeed. That is what pisses you off, Rota. That is what pisses you off, the Rangers. People that you had written off, they are doing well. Most normal people would look at this situation and say, you know what, maybe we were wrong. Maybe it was wrong of us to underestimate individuals, human beings. But no, nope. There's no time for self reflection, no time for looking within. Because what human being sits down in their moment of quiet and dreams for somebody's downfall? You don't know these people. Anybody talking against Harry and Meghan, 99.9% of them have never spoken two words to these people. They've never even been in their presence. So why do you hate them so much? Is that not insanity? Is it not insanity? Now, There's no time I think about this thing, ladies and gentlemen, that I don't sit down in my quiet moment. As somebody who also uses the internet, as somebody who also has parasocial hatred or love of certain popular figures, but never in my moment of quiet do I look at anybody that has passed through my consciousness and think to myself, you know what? I hate you. I'm going to spend my days ensuring and tweeting and texting and joining communities where I'm just being a hater. That is pure, it's not even jobless behavior. That is a mental illness. If I don't like you, I don't engage with you. Most times, I will mute and block you from my FYP. I don't know what you're up to, but to sit down day in and day out to inundate yourself with hatred over people you don't know and will never meet, ladies and gentlemen, because God forbid the worst happens to Harry and Meghan, will that make you happy? Why? They're parents, they have children. Why do you want them to get hurt? And more importantly, why would that make you happy? You don't like Meghan, block her. You don't like Harry, block him. At least the royal water, I understand their own bitternesses. They can't make money anymore from these people. They have zero access. Even the ones that I was don't worry, we'll get to you. Bronte, what's her name? Bronte something. We'll get to you. Even the ones that were spreading misinformation, saying things like, I'm going to go on the Sussex tour, acting like she was invited, knowing full and damn well she had no access to Harry and Meghan. Because when you see her reporting, she's reporting from a hotel room. She's reporting far away, which means that she didn't even get ground coverage. At least I understand. For someone like Bronte, the access she did not have has affected her bag. The best she can do is third hand reporting, which will not make her nearly as much money as if she had actual access to Meghan or Harry. Their income is being influenced. You deranged are sitting in your house. I don't understand how this is your problem though. You deranged that doesn't have a YouTube channel that's just absorbing information. How is Harry and Meghan your problem? You aren't making money from the content. So what is your problem? Is it just hating? Is it just being a hater? Is that a productive use of your time? Don't you want to go outside, go for a hike, make friends, go get help? Whatever is broken in you that makes you want to just sit down all day and attack Harry and Meghan. Their every move. Nobody can, you can't possibly be that jealous. Come on now. Harry was never going to marry you. On that note, shout out to Feminegra because I think this is worth watching. Let's start with this.
Two American grifters embargoing the Australian press in their country. Who do they think they are? This is the problem. And I think what Samara hit on the head there. The problem we've got is that this is impacting on the kid.
Robert Jobson just melted down. Why? Because Harry and Meghan went to Australia, and people had the audacity to like them.
It was 3 cheers for the Royals on a day when too much of these two was never enough.
And this half in, half out approach. Meghan's misery tour this tour.
They've got to make money somehow.
Why are they still called the Duke and Duchess of Sussex?
And over in British media land, same record. different day, quasi-royal, misery tour, commercial, titles. They've been running these 4 talking points on a loop since 2020. Zero new material. It's like the palace wrote them a script, and they lost the ability to improvise. But while GB News mocked Meghan for talking about 10 years of abuse, ITV had Bryony Gordon saying the villain version of Meghan bears no resemblance to the real woman. And Alison Hammond said the quiet part out loud.
It's called misogyny noir. Misogyny and she's a woman of colour. Racism. I think so. Absolutely. That's what it's about. Do you know what? You got to call it out when it's there. Don't be silly. Like, it's racism. It's misogyny. It's everything. All the above.
And this is where the whole thing falls apart. Australian coverage showed warm crowds, selfies, veterans, Bondi, and public goodwill. British commentators were still acting like this was some constitutional emergency.
And I think, look, Samara here on the head there, the problem we've got is that this is impacting on the king. The king is not very well. And by the way, at a time when they've just announced he's going to Washington on one of the most difficult soft power diplomacy missions he's going to do probably in his reign. And who's on the front page of the Times? Harry and Meghan.
Yeah, it's a really good point.
What you are hearing from Jobson and the rest is the sound of a royal media class choking on the fact that Harry and Meghan left 6 years ago and still have enough pull, purpose, and public interest to make the taxpayer-funded institution they worship look stiff, needy, and second-rate.
There really is nothing more to say than that. Don't worry, we'll still go through the content. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is it. That is literally it. We're going to go through all the cool stuff Harry and Meghan have done in Australia, but I'm sure many of you have seen it already. So I didn't want to come here and just rehash the same thing over and over again. I want to talk about the fact that they went to Australia. The sky did not fall. They didn't get booed. They didn't get harassed. There were no death threats. Nobody came. There was basically no drama that the British media could go and bitch and complain about and feel a sense of validation about. It was a tour. Harry and Meghan are royals. I don't care. Look, I really could not care less. I hate the royal family with something very special. My resentment and dislike of them comes from the fact that they colonized my country. The fuck? I have no sympathy. I have no empathy. I have no understanding. And that colonization that they did to Nigeria, have they apologized? Have they made some sort of reconciliation? No, they continue to colonize Africa. They continue to insult my people in different ways. Remember that ridiculous tour that Skeletor and Billy Idol did in the Caribbean, full colonial cosplay, something they would never have done in China or India? They felt comfortable doing it in black countries. Why? Because they so see us as beneath them. Our feelings, our trauma means nothing. So they can all go to hell as far as I'm concerned. I have no sympathy, no empathy. I have no patience. All that bitching and complaining. All that bitching, moaning, and complaining. And yet, Harry and Meghan, just by going on an unofficial trip that was full of commercial opportunities, networking, promotional activities, just by doing that without costing any taxpayer money, both in Australia and in the UK. Now, the question that Jobson, and I'll play that video, was, well, they said they didn't use any taxpayer money. They said it was privately funded. But the police, yes, the police. But then again, the Australian government would give a certain amount of police protection if a high profile person came on their land. If Beyonce went, she would get police protection, even with her private security. If you're a celebrity that has a lot of pull, you will attract a certain type of security. It doesn't matter whether you're bringing your own people or not, because as they said, nobody wants the responsibility of, oh, Beyonce, Rihanna came on my land, something happened. But I want you to think about this, guys. They didn't give them any more or less police protection than they needed. And this police protection, mind you, is proportional to the threats that the derangers and the British media and other media allow. When you go around spreading misinformation that the Harry and Meghan tour is going to cost taxpayer money, that you create a fake petition, idiots online who can't tell fact from fiction will be activated. Oh wow, why are you spending all that money? I'm angry now. Then you start making threats. And then guess what? Threats are made. The police are called. Because Harry is still the biological blood child of the King of England, working royal or not. Look, imagine how bad it will look for Australia, God forbid, if something happens to Harry and Meghan on their land. Of course, they'll provide police. Of course, they'll provide security. The fuck? If you don't want anybody getting security, then stop inviting celebrities to your country. And this is not just Harry and Meghan. Stop inviting Taylor Swift, Beyonce. Let every celebrity never come into your country. So therefore, no security services are needed. But as long as you are famous and people know who you are, and whether you are a politically polarizing figure or not, you will get security when you go to specific countries. I don't know what to tell you, the Rangers. Sorry. Right. So now what I'm going to do is let me start because I put a lot of videos for us guys to sit down talk about. I'm going to go through them quickly, well as quickly as we can. There's so much content here. So bear with me. As you can imagine, the trip finished. I got some clips from the retreat our lieutenant Zandy Sussex went through. I'm sure she took pictures with Megan. It's a weekend retreat when she makes, if and when she makes those pictures available. Because don't forget, guys, the Daily Mail, as a way to intimidate her, took her posts online and splashed it all over their news. This is what I'm telling you, right? Daily Mail is supposed to be tabloid trash, but the fact that you are actually coming on Twitter to get information because you want to create an article to bash Sussex, Harry and Meghan supporters, you are thereby feeding into the unsafe environment. Because imagine if Zandy Sussex had her real picture up. Imagine if she had her name. They would have posted it all over Daily Mail. They would have. Why are you doing that? Why are you going after a private citizen? If Zandi has thousands of pounds or dollars to spend on a Megan on that retreat, how is that any of your business? And look at the Nothing Burger. Megan was only there to give a talk. So many of them, and this is for I'm sure a lot of the British media underground probably found a way to get access to that retreat, right? Because they were stupid enough to think that Megan was going to spend the entire weekend there. When they categorically said that it was a talk and an evening. Even I knew it was going to be like, I was thinking, okay, maybe she'll come. I thought it'd be on Saturday before they left. I didn't realize that they were leaving on Friday. So she came the night of the thing. Harry and Meghan leave the next day. Finish. Trip done. Did you honestly think Meghan was going to spend the weekend there? Are people okay? Anyway, I'm going to continue. Guys, give me one sec. Sorry, guys, I had to charge my battery. So I'm going to play. Let's continue watching the videos and the feedback.
Put their hands in their pockets to provide Andrew with money to pay off a woman that he did not know, to the tune of over 10 million sterling. They've put money in pockets of lawyers to block legal pursuit of Andrew, to force newspapers into not disclosing information, and to discourage people from saying things that related to all of this. So I query what future they're entitled to and what type of royal family we want, but we do not want what we have at the moment. It is thoroughly rotten to the core. We have liars, people who have deceived us, people who have manipulated us, people who are conducting their own personal business on the back of privilege and title. They are not transparent around their finances. They are exploiting this country, and they are riding on the backs of working, honest, hard-working, decent people.
And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is the crux of it. This is why they hate Harry and Meghan. Because every time Harry and Meghan are able to complete royal tours, they left 6 years ago. I would say they have more than quadrupled their income in that time. They've become very independent and very successful. Probably the first royals in history to do so, without eating from the taxpayer coffers or any of that historical wealth. Now, I'm not going to sit down here and say that Harry did not get his inheritance. I heard that he did, right? But Meghan and Harry said that they kept that money for Archie. So a lot of the money they are probably making is from the Netflix deal, Harry's book, Meghan's deals, the businesses that she's making. And we're going to get to Meghan, don't worry, because that man is so brilliant. And this is what pisses off the press. And this is what pisses off the royal family. Because Harry and Meghan were not supposed to be successful. You can always tell when somebody does better than the system wanted them to do. The bitching, the underhandedness, the nastiness is pervasive. Especially if that person is a person of color. Say what you want about Meghan. She's light-skinned, and I don't give a damn. That is a black woman. I mean, I would side her if she called her children black, because those kids are not black. Let's not do that. But like, it's insanity. Anyway, what I'm loving about this, guys, is you can watch in real time as the sentiment is beginning to change. People are growing up. There's a lot of content, ladies and gentlemen. So let's look at a lot of the content that came out of Australia following the trip. And tell me if you noticed something.
Here's a wave. Hi. Now to some breaking news, and Prince Harry and Meghan have just left Sydney's Coogee Beach with the Duchess giving our reporter a wave. Here's a wave. Hi. Hope you loved Australia. Let's get straight to Sarah Stewart at Coogee Beach. Sarah, they've just arrived at the airport.
Yeah, they have, Lizzie. Look, I am that jaggy reporter. I get way too excited by these things, but they came out of the Intercontinental. They were in the convoy of 3 cars. They stopped at the traffic lights. I saw my moment. I yelled out to Meghan. She looked over, gave us a big smile and a big wave. Harry was sitting next to her in the back seat of the car. He also gave us a wave. But from here, they went to the airport, and they have just been seen going into the airport via the loading dock. They were shaking some hands, and in they went. So the tour is officially over. They are heading home. But last night, we saw them out and about. They went to the rugby game, watching the Waratahs there. More waves, more thumbs up there, a couple of drinks as well. Prior to that, Meghan was here at the Intercontinental in Coogee, doing a speaking tour here, talking to some women. It was a wellness retreat over the weekend, which is actually still going. But look, it's been a glorious few days. They were on Sydney Harbour talking to Team Invictus, talking to them about their children. Lots of the Invictus people said that they had children of similar ages, and they were talking to them about that. They also went down to Bondi yesterday morning as well. But Lizzie, the royal tour that isn't a royal tour, that kind of is a royal tour, well, it's all officially over now. They're going home.
Oh, Sarah, you might be a daggy reporter, but you are our daggy reporter. We love you. Thank you.
Oh.
Talk to you soon.
All right, well, Prince Harry and Meghan have spent a whirlwind week meeting, greeting and schmoozing their way across Australia's southeast.
So while the pair put on quite the show, it was under very different circumstances from their 2018 visit. Joining us now to discuss their royal report card is Bronte Coy, royal correspondent for news.com.au. Good morning to you, Bronte. Last time they were on Aussie soil, they were royals and it was a royal tour. Did you notice any difference this time around now that they're non-working royals?
Well, there were a lot of differences, although, and this is what's struck a lot of people, there were a lot of similarities. They aren't working royals, but it did have a lot of hallmarks of a royal tour. The key difference was, and I was on the 2018 tour as well, so it's good to have that comparison, but the key difference was there wasn't a lot of that public-facing sort of activity that we see with royal tours where they do the walkabouts and the meet and greets. With that said, there were quite a few opportunities for people to see them. We saw the footage of them at Bondi. That was quite chaotic, actually, everyone just joining that scrum. And there were a few opportunities for people in that regard, but that's the key difference, was a lot of it was actually behind closed doors because, as they've said, this was a trip as private citizens, and I'm at pains to say it wasn't a royal tour, but again, it did look like one a lot of the time.
Watching this has been so interesting, and I was following them for the last couple of days through Sydney for news. It's been a roller coaster. But what they did, Bronte, I felt like was the model that they initially pitched to the Queen, right? They said, hey, we can be working royals, but we can make some money on the side.
This is the thing, because when that was pitched, you're exactly right. That was initially what they wanted, but everything got really tough and tense between them and the British press back in late 2019, and it hit that sort of breaking point. They really wanted that half in, half out, but that was turned down. That was quite decisively turned down by the late Queen. And as you say, this is now kind of what's ended up happening. So it was that blend of paid speaking appearances, as we saw Meghan yesterday did the speaking appearance at the wellness retreat, but then it was those charity engagements as well, where they were out meeting people, shaking people's hands and doing that sort of the royal-esque sort of visit. So yes, it effectively is the model that they had wanted initially.
Some would say that they are stepping on the toes of the King, King Charles, His Royal Highness. But as this tour shown, as you guys have just discussed, this was what was pitched to the late Queen by Harry and Meghan to remain as working royals. Has this showed the palace what they're missing out on?
Look, that's really what struck me on this tour. I've got to say, I went into it thinking anything could happen here. Meghan and Harry, you know, the one thing they're very good at, whether you love them or hate them, and truly there are not a lot of people that sit in the middle of that spectrum. But either way, I just had no idea how this was going to unfold, how they'd be received. And the truth is, you know, people were really happy to see them. They were handpicking events, obviously, with communities that they've worked with, Harry with the military stuff, and they were working a lot with youth mental health. So obviously, these groups were really happy to see them because it is work they've been championing for years. But anything could have happened. We don't know. We never know when the royals step out like that, and particularly because there has been so much controversy around them in recent years. But from what I saw, I was waiting and just watching and trying to see what was going to happen, but people were really excited to see them, and it was a very warm engagement.
They've won over some people.
Well, look, I have to say, I covered them in Los Angeles post-Megxit, and I felt like I did a lot of trips up to Montecito because there was the Oprah interview, there was the Netflix doco, things that I think really turned people off. But this week, I enjoyed watching them go around. I thought the charitable stuff, the sailing with the Invictus sailors, going to the Children's Hospital, I felt like it was really well received. Did you feel that too?
It was pretty charming, I have to say. I was the same. Going in, I didn't know what to expect, but I was quite close with them for 4 days. I was up close and personal watching it happen. And it really was one of those things where you look at it and think, if things were different, if things had all gone differently a few years ago when they had the big split with the royal family in terms of working with them, they really were an asset. It could have been great, and the royal family has, you know, much fewer working members at the moment. So when they're out and about, they are really good at it. It is a job that Harry was raised to do, and you can see it when he's doing it.
They won me over by attending a Super Rugby game at Allianz Stadium alongside the great John Eales.
You're easily won over. I'm curious, Bronte, do you reckon that if they had done this straight off the bat after leaving London, instead of doing Oprah, instead of doing the Netflix stuff, would we have a completely different attitude? Would the world have a different attitude towards them?
Well, hindsight's a beautiful thing, isn't it? But there have been, looking back, there's a few pinch points where I think, the Oprah interview, they were obviously very bruised from what had happened and their experience of being in the monarchy and working for them. But I think that was when they sort of aired everything. And it kind of did just open that can of worms, which around them, the whole narrative around them then for so long. And even just now, I think they're finally shaking it off. But it's been the better part of 6 years. I think it was all about sort of looking back at the dramas that they had endured and their feelings towards that, and it was quite negative. But as you say, if we'd gone into this sort of thing, because it was charming, maybe it would have been a different narrative. But I do think they're entering this new chapter now where we're seeing them do this. I do think there's a lot less chat about the retrospective issues, and maybe this is what we're going to see going forward, because it was a very successful tour. Their team, I'm told, is very happy with how it's all gone, and you can see why.
Well, they inspired the Waratahs to a bonus point victory, so that's a big tick for me. Great to talk to you, Bronte. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Bronte.
Do you see these clowns? These clowns. You see? So Bronte more or less just confessed that she came to Australia hoping for drama. And let me be very clear. Bronte is the person you see on The Sun, right? She was never, ever going to have access to Harry and Meghan. She was never going to have access to Harry and Meghan, ladies and gentlemen. Basically, what she said was she got a ticket from London, where I believe she lives now, I don't know, flew to Australia to go and join the desperate press to get tiny snippets and pictures. And I believe she didn't even get anywhere near close, because if she got pictures, we would have seen it. A lot of the pictures that we saw were just the main Australian press. So I think what I can get, and see how, how when somebody's giving you underhanded compliments, they were happy to see them because of all the buzz and all the press and all the money they made from the experience. And according to what they were saying, oh, if things had been different, but the rewriting of history is what will always irritate me when it comes to the press and Meghan. How did you expect Harry and Meghan to come and do a royal tour immediately after they left, when you wouldn't leave them alone, when you were leaking their location, when you sent helicopters to track them down, when you were chasing and harassing them, when you were spreading lies and misinformation about them so badly that they had to give an interview to Oprah? They also had to do documentary because they had to change the narrative. You were lying. You still call it Megxit. Megxit is not the name of... I don't even know where Megxit came from. Again, another underhanded, hateful commentary to give. Nobody there is taking accountability. Harry was the reason they left, not Meghan. So why are you calling it Megxit? You see? All of them are rewriting history 6 years ago, as if we don't have video footage of how you were treating them, the lies you were spreading, the lies you continue to spread. Weekend after weekend after weekend after weekend after weekend on Australian news channels, you spread lies about them. On Sky News, you invite haters and derangers to lie about Harry and Meghan. So why are we rewriting history? And let's not also forget that Bronte came, and she said it herself, she came to see what will happen. Let's keep it 500%. She was hoping Harry and Meghan were going to get booed. They were hoping there was going to be some sort of drama. These people want Harry and Meghan to get hurt. I keep telling you. And then when they saw how nicely they were received and how much people were happy and the general good positivity and the cheer it brought, oh, all of a sudden, oh, wow, if only things could be like this. Because they know when they follow the other left behinds and the lazy royals, they don't get anywhere near that type of, superstar reaction. People don't care. They have to travel to the depths of Wales, cold, boring, lazy cities that nobody goes to, that those people will be happy to see anyone, frankly, harass kids out of school so that Skeletor and Billy Idol can have people to talk to. The same with the king. And let's also wake up something. Did you notice that during this trip, nobody said anything about the Epstein? Let's wake that up. Nobody said anything about Epstein. Harry and Meghan have so successfully been able to create a brand and extract themselves from the royal family that it seems like this is a completely clean superstar version of the royal family that are free from scandals. The the media keeps on saying scandals and controversy. Harry and Meghan don't have any scandals or controversy. What? They spoke to Oprah, yes, 5 years ago. Netflix documentary 4 years ago. So they keep on lying and saying things like Harry and Meghan are selling their family out for money 5 years ago. Because they want to attach the Sussex brand with controversy, with scandal. That's why that's Chanduka, that ridiculous lawsuit. We'll get to that lawsuit that Chanduka brought, thinking that she could. Let me say it again. Harry is Prince Henry Albert, some other stuff, Mountbatten Windsor, the blood child of the current King of England, the brother of the future King of England. If you think you are going to take that man to court, I don't know what you are smoking, I don't know what you are sniffing, but we'll get to Sophie Chandoka. There's so much, guys. Bear with me. I might have to create a separate account just for Sussex. I have a lot of stuff in here. I love this. I love this. Is this playing? Let me see. Oh, it's my For You page. Sorry, guys. Elon Musk has so destroyed this app. I was literally on my own page now. I don't understand how I got to For You. Elon Musk, he has so spoiled this app, ladies and gentlemen. I was literally just on my page now. How I got to For You, I will never understand. They keep saying that the X app will not survive the year. I hope it does. I hope they burn it down and start again because he has completely destroyed this UI. You'll be scrolling through your own page, all of a sudden you're back on the For You page, and I'm like, what? I didn't touch For You, so why am I looking at For You? Ugh, ladies and gentlemen. I thought taking a break from this thing would change things, but it's only made things worse. Aha, so here we are, guys. So again, the fallout, we're going to be talking more about the fallout from what is probably the most successful royal tour we've had since Harry and Meghan went to Colombia. Guys, did you know that Prince Edward is on a royal tour? I just found this out literally before I came on this call, and I was like, he is? Because instead of talking about the working royals, they are focusing on Harry and Meghan. Do you see how unserious these people are? Let's listen to this. It's so nice to hear from the actual subject.
Right. Marva, what do you think? Do you think that Prince Harry should check everything via Mike?
No, I think Mike Parry is just talking a whole lot of nonsense, to be truthful. I totally agree with Yasmin.
Do you think that because some people would argue that actually he has a responsibility to Britain to, help out with charities here, to do work with the royal family, to create that soft power, and actually what he's done is not only abandoned his post, but sort of crumbled that institution which gave Britain that soft power we talk about all the time?
No, he's got a loyalty to himself. First and foremost, he's got a loyalty to himself.
Well, that's not a good thing, is it, Marvin? That's not a good thing. You're right, he's got a loyalty to himself. He opts out the British royal family, but then suddenly announces, oh, I'm going on a royal tour of Australia.
No, it's not a royal tour.
Well, it's been billed as a royal tour, hasn't it? You know full well it's been billed as a royal tour.
Check your facts.
Oh, so you haven't read a headline saying it's a royal tour?
Oh, yeah, this is the popular press here which hates Harry.
Marva, what about the accusations that he's just spilling the beans on the royal family? That, yeah, okay, so he left, he's no longer a working royal and he doesn't get some of the privileges involved with that. But actually, all the money he has made since has been on the basis that he is the son of the king.
Absolutely.
And the reputation that gives him.
Well, if people want to think that he's made his money off the back of his father, I just totally don't agree with that. I am positive why Harry is not in the royal fold is because that Meghan was just too dark for the establishment. I totally agree with what Harry has done. He moved away. There's one life to live, and he's living it.
It's interesting you think that there's a racist element to this, because actually this is an element an argument that we've heard quite a lot. Yasmin, where do you stand on this? And the reason I'm asking you is because he has now come out and basically said he didn't want to be part of the royal family since that moment he had to walk behind that coffin, since the moment that his mother died. Do you think that might shine a better light on why he left?
Well, life is not just one moment, isn't it? Is it? I mean, remember, the royal family, as was and is, there were lots of victims. The Queen's sister, Margaret, was destroyed by the fact that she wasn't allowed to marry the man she loved. And she ended up a drunk and extremely promiscuous and deeply hurt and wounded. And the Queen herself, put up with Prince Philip's interesting friendships with younger women. And
alleged.
We are now in an age where we are not prepared to do that. Okay? So I think life isn't just one moment. I also read, and I might be wrong, but I'm sure I read this, that soon after Harry was born, I mean, we're talking about a day or something like that, Charles went off to see Camilla.
There's a rumour going around that he went to the bedside and said, "Good, we now have a spare." Essentially, we now have a spare.
No, but the hurt was accumulative. And then with the wife,
he hasn't just disappeared. What he has done, he's kind of stayed.
And you know what? Let me very quickly say,
in the back of the royal family.
5 months before they married, 5 months before Harry and Meghan married, I wrote a 3,000-word piece for the Times magazine in the US, saying you don't know the family you're coming into and you don't know the country you're coming into. And the last lines were, the only way they will survive is if they leave. This was 5 months before they married. You can check it out.
Let's go to another.
A lot of people, funny enough, a lot of people said that. I will never forget that. What was his name? Oh God, he's popular, guys. No, not John Stewart. He's on HBO. Do you guys remember him? He had Last Week Tonight. I forget his name. He said it that, look, good luck to them, good luck to her. But he kind of basically sounded the warning on her. It's very interesting, and I would say it's kind of tragic, but it's interesting how everybody who uses critical thinking could have predicted how this was going to end. They didn't want Harry to stay married, but I think what they were probably hoping, and we've said this numerous times, guys, was they would harass Meghan to the point where she leaves. They wanted her to die or leave. Harry said, if you want her to leave, I'm going with her. And I'm so glad Harry has said it, because I'm sure Harry will know things, right? They didn't care about destroying Harry's marriage, because Harry, in their mind, was the perennial fuck up. His role was to be the perennial fuck up. Oh Harry, he married an American actress. He's that's the type of you know how people have very low expectations of people. This is why I always say you have to be careful if you are a human being. And let me also bring this to people of color as well. Be very careful who you listen to. There are people who want you to fail. Their expectation on you is failure. Their expectation on you is not succeeding. For whatever reason, through their own damage, they have preconceived notions of who will win and who will fail. You have to be careful because those people are going to do everything in their power to ensure that you fail, that you don't meet your potential. Thank God for Harry that he was around people outside his family who had higher expectations, who loved him. Let me start there. Who loved him. And also to him as well for having higher expectations for himself. John, what's his name? Sorry. Sorry, guys. The chat is here, but I'm not looking at it. Let me see if I can look at the chat. Yes, Oliver. God bless you. Thank you. Something Oliver. Yeah. Yeah, people who have low expectations for certain people. And it's a wicked thing. It's wicked. It's wicked expecting people to live on this earth and not having cheerleaders. And many of us have had to live our lives that way. Family that you thought would have your back, they don't have your back. Friends, loved ones, siblings. If you don't find something in you to value, you will fail yourself. That's why I tell people it gets to a point where you have to realize, and if you're lucky, you will realize this early. It gets to a point where you need to start believing in yourself. Believe in yourself first before anybody. Not everybody is going to have your back. Not your parents, not your friends, not your loved ones. If you don't believe in yourself, the negative plans people have for your life, the life you've not lived, will come to fruition. All those pictures they had of Harry falling out of a club, being drunk, fighting paparazzi. That was their plan. Harry was supposed to be the fuck up prince. And this is something else I was also going to say. They will never forgive Harry and Meghan for breaking the cycle. Despair is always supposed to uplift the air. That was Harry's role. Fuck his happiness. They let him marry Meghan because I'm sure they were hoping for the drama of it. They weren't expecting Meghan to be that popular. They thought, oh, actress, of course, typical Harry, good old Harry, of course he would get with an actress. As if actress is synonymous for sex worker. Underestimated her intelligence, her brilliance, her education, her pedigree. Now, Harry and Meghan are the most popular royals and the most lucrative and the most respected royals in the world. Where do we go from there? Despair has completely... I will show you, there's a picture of Harry that was like, bloody hell. Look, I call him King Harry, but in that picture could not capture Harry perfectly more than a future king. He has the confidence and the swagger of a king. People say statesman. I'm like, no, king. Of a king. Of a leader. Let's listen to some more inputs from people, guys.
Should Fergie go to America? Should she answer questions in Congress?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
I think...
I am so sorry. Wrong one. I was keeping that for something else. I'm keeping that for when Charles goes to humiliate himself in America. I cannot wait. I will. Oh my God, guys. I personally can't wait. So, of course, we have human troll and scumbag, Jeremy Vine. Let's listen to what people have to say about the Harry and Meghan trip. Do you feel sorry for Meghan? Oh, brother. For those of you who missed it, okay, let's listen to... Let's listen
Tony in Hampshire, hi.
to this first.
Hello.
What do you think of what Meghan said?
Well, I think it's based on fact, and I think that before any criticism of her and to tell her, get off social media, ignore it. I mean, let's remember that she already had a social media presence way before she was part of the royal family, which was used for actually, I think, a lot of positivity, women's rights and all that kind of stuff. So she was already established on social media. And I think that what's happened to her I mean, we have to. I think of what happened to Caroline Flack and how she had about 3 weeks of abuse, which caused her to commit suicide.
Yeah.
And Meghan's kind of had to hold her nerve for years now, unfairly, and it's so much of it has emanated from what the palace and the institution had set up.
All right. I mean, I suppose, yes, although she took on the palace establishment, and I know Paula's going to disagree with me now, she basically accused them of racism through an interview which her husband corroborated without really any evidence at all.
I am going to correct you. You'll be surprised to hear that racists don't walk around with racist tattooed on their forehead. That's not to say that she...
I'm going to stop this here because this woman was not prepared for a response, and I hate her response. It was stupid. Let me say this again because, like I said, they are rewriting history. Meghan and Harry left the royal family because they were harassed out of the royal family. So he's making it sound like as if, they were harassing you because you accused the family of racism. What? So all the ones that she was quiet and you were saying that she made Kate cry. You were saying that her eating avocado was causing global chaos. You were lying about her, saying that she was a prostitute, saying she was a yacht girl. You were saying that she was almost straight out of Compton. You were saying some out of pocket shit, saying that her mom was a criminal and bringing her father to GMB to bash her regularly. Piers Morgan was using her as the daily punching bag while he was a GMB host. A whole princess, the daughter of the king's son. The royal family did not see any need to intervene. Would he have spoken about Kate Middleton like that? They're rewriting history. Don't let them rewrite history, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, this woman's response was stupid, so I'm not going to waste my time. If you're going to come on this show and talk about race, you need to have your information ready so that it's impactful. And yeah, so this is a picture from Meghan at her retreat. Like I said, Zandy, Sussex, and some members of the Australian squad were able to attend. When those pictures come out, I'll bring it during our live. Shout out to Meghan. And guess who's there? I think we can see his bald spot. Harry. So I love this because I think if we can all remember when they said they were going to have the retreat, the Rangers were activated. They were saying all sorts of things. Members of the British press were trying to get in to see if they could get access to Meghan, like the morons that they are. And Harry showed up. Harry was in the crowd. Harry said, try it. To me, him being there was a message. You think you're going to come and harass my wife? Shout out to Harry. Harry is Meghan's bodyguard. And guys, I won't lie. When I heard Harry was sitting in the crowd while Meghan was talking, I was turned on. I was aroused. At least now we know why Meghan's always jumping on him and always turned on 24/7. I mean, what a man. Jesus. I was like, I didn't even know Harry was going to be there. He showed up and said, come and harass my wife while I'm here. And I'm like, I mean, what's sexier than a man that is that crazy about you? Lucky woman. I can see why they're angry. I would be angry too. Shit. And this is more from the look at Meghan. She looks amazing. I wonder if she comes to the UK and she does something similar. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go get my pictures. You people, you will not hear the last of it. I will wear my Christmas best. I don't want Meghan to outshine me. This is the host of the event. This is Meghan looking like a literal goddess. Yes, she looks amazing, guys. Looks wonderful. Shout out to Harry. Harry earned so many points with this. Looking amazing. Oh, our first black princess. And some more reporting from the Australian media, guys. You see how they are smiling and how you see these nonsense people. After years of lying and spreading misinformation and lying, now Meghan and Harry are there. You see, you can talk all this shit behind my back, but in my front, just fake ass people. Anyway, let's listen.
Well, they may be officially non-working royals, but Harry and Meghan certainly know how to work enthusiastic crowds in Sydney today.
It had all the hallmarks and the landmarks of an official tour, but a relaxed Duke and Duchess hit all the right places and mingled with the public on their successful return to Sydney. There was even an emotional reunion for Harry.
At Bondi Beach, Meghan Markle and her own Prince Charming.
How's it feel to be back in Sydney?
Oh, it's great to be back. Wonderful.
Stepping out in the Sydney sun.
Everyone be careful, don't go.
It was shoes and socks off and straight for the sand, watching lifesavers do what lifesavers do. But the biggest splash here came from Meghan herself, a Bondi hit from go to woe, and at times getting lost in a whole sea of selfies.
She's cuddling babies.
Harry was a hit here too, and full of sovereign swagger.
Harry, good to see some English. Good to see some English.
Earlier, a private moment with the survivors and the saviours of the massacre on the sand, whether face-to-face or on the phone, the royal touch from a healing hand.
Beautiful that they've come and are making an effort.
We're just here to support the lifeguards. Everything that they did on that day and every day is just epic.
We feel very bonded because we've been through such an awful ordeal.
From the surf to the city and Circular Quay, hands up for photos with the right ready royals.
We're on a girls' trip from Hobart, so there's 21 of us ladies here.
Who's from Tassie here?
It was up close and personal to a degree.
I can't give you a kiss.
But for Michelle Hayward, a very special hug.
Seems to last forever. That was Mum.
That was your mum.
Michelle is the daughter of Daphne Dunn, a royal rouser from way back. She met with Prince Harry 3 separate times until at age 99, her own time was up.
She had an incredible life.
He made those last years of her life so special. Very special moment for me personally.
A moment to remember on a day she won't forget. Then, on the harbour, all aboard the Invictus Express, Harry and Meghan shooting the breeze with veterans, the charity the Prince fought for and founded.
They make us feel so comfortable sitting with them. It was sort of like catching up with old friends.
And what a fitting event to do on the final day of the tour, sailing on Sydney Harbour and visiting our very own crown jewel, the Opera House. Awesome. It was 3 cheers for the Royals on a day when too much of these two was never enough.
Thank you. Thank you, Meghan. Thank you.
And Sam Payne joins us now from Allianz Stadium. Sam, Harry and Meghan are due there tonight.
They are. They're watching the Super Rugby game between the Waratahs and Moana Pacifica. Now, kick-off's at 7:35. But earlier, Meghan made a VIP appearance at a $3,000 a head wellness retreat at the Intercontinental in Coogee. That's where the pair is actually staying while they're here in Sydney. Tonight's match marks the final stop on their royal itinerary. It's expected they'll be leaving the country tomorrow.
Thank you, Sam. And 7 News is looking inside the tour that's caused plenty of controversy. The 7 News special Harry and Meghan, Victory or Vanity, will air on Sunday at 9 p.m. after Spotlight on 7 and 7+.
They couldn't resist themselves. They couldn't resist themselves, could they? They had to controversy and what? Look at all the good coverage you're giving them. But because, they have to sell papers, they have to keep the narrative going. I'm not going to watch the news article because I really don't want to hear bullshit. I'm sure all the royal rota, they will get them to come and bitch and complain from London and the wild. But I think the one thing we're beginning to see, guys, is as people show up to greet them, mind you, because, and I don't know if I mentioned it, I probably didn't. There was an embargo. I don't know if you heard what Jobbo was saying. There was an embargo on the press on when Harry, because again, they are private citizens, and for security reasons, they cannot keep they can't tell you everywhere they are going to be and the time. There was an embargo which Daily Mail, of course, Daily Express and Sky News broke. So because obviously they broke the embargo, I don't think they were allowed to come anywhere near them. And the places that they had to go, they had to show up. They couldn't release the time because again, the embargo was broken before they got there. So the fact that they were able to even get a crowd at all these places mean people knew they were going to be there. People knew they were going to be there and they would have been waiting for hours for the possibility. Yes, Kevin, it's true. Let me tell you, let me just keep you 500 now, right? Unless they personally transport people there, Kate and William are not going to attract this type of a crowd. They will literally release the time to the press. No, nobody's going to be there because it's Kate and William. Nobody gives a shit. No offense, but it's true. Nobody cares. No one cares. Even in their own country, they can't rouse a crowd. So here we're coming to the yes, this is when Megan gave that her beautiful speech about bullying. So let's see how much of that we can get here.
Really, really incredible. And they were really open.
How incredible to have Prince Harry and Meghan visit you, and how vulnerable were they with the young people in the room?
Having 16 young thought leaders in this space in the room was probably the most amazing thing. But to have Meghan and Harry join us for around an hour was really, really incredible. And they were really open and vulnerable. And that was so important for this not to be tokenistic for the young people. It was amazing.
Why was this different and why was this important? What did they say and what impact did it have?
It was different because it was about the young people. And even when Harry and Meghan were in the room and I introduced them, I explained to the young people there that they were the VIPs. They were the special guests. And the whole way we structured it ensured that they were at the centre, and this was about giving them a voice. And so Harry and Meghan came into that room knowing it and just there to listen and ask questions, but also share some of their lived experience, which is what we know connects.
And what was their advice, Patrick? What really stayed with you when you were lying awake last night reflecting on it?
The need for more focus on prevention. These young people were talking about the fact that they only get support from government and others when crisis occurs, and it's just too late. And so much of the discussion yesterday was around the need for focus on prevention and providing young people tools to help themselves and each other earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. These are people, and shout out to SK, ladies and gentlemen. We've already spoken about the Bondi visit, but look at this. Look at this. See this crowd. I want you to be clear. This is not a royal tour in that they were not visiting public spaces, and a lot of the information, even though it was embargoed, they didn't know when they were going to be there, but they were still able to attract this much of a crowd. And because of the crowd, it was, they were able to get selfies. As you can imagine, they had to contain it because look, see, Getty. Yeah. So no Photoshop. I'm very sure if it had been a typical royal tour, they would have packed this place out. See? Just lying. It was a muted tour. Shut the fuck up. Just say that you're stressed. So this was more of Meghan and Harry out and about. This was just before they went to Bondi Beach. Listen to the reaction. What's so fascinating to me is how they were able to make people get close and up personal to them without the usual nonsense from the royal rota. And I think this is a good thing because they didn't announce where they were going to be there. It wasn't a public crowd. They were able to get just enough people for the security to be able to manage and to get the visuals and everything. And honestly, it's a better way to connect. Why do you need hundreds of thousands of people there? That they can talk to people, people can talk to them, they can take pictures. It can be more impactful than just trying to prove a point of your popularity. The fact that they didn't even announce when they were going to be there, and they're still able to get all this enthusiasm and this energy. I mean, you can't compete when you
Well,
can't.
Harry and Meghan have wrapped up their visit to Melbourne. On their third and final day here, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex made new friends in the city and thrilled students at Swinburne University. Edward Godfrey was with them.
A picture-perfect morning for a stroll along the Yarra and a guided tour of Aboriginal sites. Harry and Meghan catching walkers by surprise
My friends won't be able to believe this.
while making friends along the way.
It's cool, like, at school I can just say, like, I met Harry, the prince, and, like, that he's, like, my friend.
There were royal portraits and a very cute and impromptu play date for little Heidi.
I was actually surprised you stopped to say hi. Yeah, it's fantastic. Was that very good? Do you want to say hi to everybody?
And I nearly started crying when I seen Harry because I've watched him grow up and, yeah, to see him in the flesh, it's just so nice.
Day 3 sees the Melbourne leg and core part of this Australian tour come to an end. Harry and Meghan to spend the final day of their visit in Sydney. Before that, though, it was back to school. An outfit change for Meghan at Swinburne University, different shoes for Harry, unexpected classmates for students. What just happened?
Oh, we shook hands. We got a handshake.
How was that?
Oh, we're best friends.
The couple here to discuss mental health.
Astonish a mean world with your acts of kindness.
As word spread quickly of their presence.
Will we get to see you back in Australia soon, Meghan? Oh gosh, we'd love to come back. It's brilliant here.
A significant police presence around their movements today. The Premier with this to say when asked if taxpayers are picking up a tab.
Who's Harry? Prince Harry. Oh, right. Okay. I think that's a matter for Victoria Police.
Police telling us it does not provide comment on specific operational arrangements. Their final Melbourne event, a $1,000 plus ticketed summit, before checking their own tickets at Tullamarine, farewelling Melbourne, bound for Sydney. Edward Godfrey, 9 News.
So these are the irrelevant royals. They were literally stalking them on a boat. Clowns. See?
They're sailing with the Invictus Australia, and if you can see on board, I know we're from quite a distance, but Harry's talking to Invictus athletes. He actually set up the Invictus Games in 2014 to help soldiers with their rehabilitation, but obviously it's been a very busy day. The sun's been out, and here they are sailing in the open Sydney Harbour. The only ones around right now are a few other media boats, but it is all happening, and it's been very busy since they started this morning. They dropped by Bondi with an impromptu setup to talk to the lifesavers who were there at the Bondi attack, and obviously that was quite emotional for them inside before they went out, walking along the beach. You can hear the sounds. Everyone was so excited they were getting mobbed by fans. We even tried to speak to them. Take a listen.
How much better is Sydney than Melbourne, Harry?
Oh, I can't answer that question.
We've been covering that they were going to be doing these two events, the Opera House sailing and then the Waratah game tonight, but then also Bondi. That was where a lot of people were, a lot of fans, Tash, a lot of selfies, a lot of love, saying, we still love you, Meghan, we still love you, Harry, taking selfies, look after yourself. I did hear that a lot as well, but they were very chipper, they took time with everyone, and it was just a great morning for them all.
See? It's one thing when people are screaming at you through news channels, spreading lies and misinformation, but then you get to meet them up close and personal, and you're like, oh, they're cool. See? So you have to be careful what you listen to in the media, y'all. When the media has an agenda, they can make you hate anyone. So let's listen to this. Let's listen to this, guys.
Taking a stroll in Bronte. The Duchess of Sussex can be seen alongside her security team. They're all wearing their active wear as they hop into a Range Rover.
You see?
Later today, Meghan and Prince Harry will head out on
Why
Sydney
are you
Harbour
stalking them?
on the last day of their whirlwind
I'm so
Australia
glad it was
trip.
9 News. Why are you stuck? Meghan was out with her security, probably just doing a stroll. Probably, it looks like it was early in the morning. Why are you stalking them? Because they were stalking them. They had to probably cut that stroll short and quickly get her in the car. And then when they say Meghan and Harry need security, you people will start screaming, not on taxpayer dime. If you left them alone, press, and notice how it's not some random deranger or stalker. It is the actual they had no qualms putting their watermark all over this. It's us, it's us. So the press and their intrusive stalking is why Harry and Meghan need security. Because what do you mean? Meghan is there. You don't know when she's going out. She didn't announce. She probably just went out early in the morning for a stroll. Why are you stalking her? The fuck? And I love that these things are happening because this is just actual proof. In fact, all Meghan and Harry have to do is go on 9 News and go and bring up this article. This is not this is the press. And because they were stalking them, it's now become obvious where their location is. So Harry and Meghan probably can't go out again. Do you see the problem?
Very good.
Great job. The most perfect dress to throw in. Oh, no. Oh my God.
Oh, look at this. Norman's budget's what?
Yeah, well, we've seen you in them already. So we thought, I've seen you in some thongs. It'd be great to get you guys in some thongs. And continue that tradition of you guys come to Australia with something neat.
They are so lovely.
Thanks very much for coming.
They are very media trained.
Yes.
And it's nice.
Yes.
That was your present.
Yeah.
Can we see you?
G'day, Meg. I love this. Thank you so much.
They will go well with my.
Oh, bless them. Meghan looking surreal as usual. Let me see. More reporting.
A wind visit to Melbourne, flying out after a final day with fans. From an unannounced Yarra walk to a summit focusing on mental health, the Duke and Duchess drew crowds at every turn.
Listen to the report.
The Duke and Duchess started their final day in Melbourne the same way as many locals, a walk along the Yarra. It wasn't publicised, but they quickly drew a stunned crowd.
Mrs. will be spewing, she's not here. She loves the Royals.
Harry and Meghan spent 45 minutes listening and learning about Indigenous culture at Birrarung Ma.
At school, I can just say, like, I met Harry, the prince, and, like, that he's, like, my friend.
Some fans managed to score photos with the pair, and Harry spoke to some of his father's youngest subjects.
I was actually surprised you stopped to say hi. Yeah, it's fantastic.
One wanted a snap only with Meghan.
Harry, what's happening? What? You stepped out of the question. He's a Suits fan. He's a Suits fan.
Somehow this fleeting, friendly encounter for a selfie was falsely turned by one media outlet into an awkward ambush that supposedly sparked chaos. In reality, Harry was warm and happy, enjoying our smiles, and he also gave some fashion feedback.
Good to see you smiling too, mate.
You're always smiling.
Good to see you. I love your tie. Oh, thank you, mate.
Later, at Swinburne University to visit a youth mental health workshop, another quick, friendly chat.
What's your message to the people who have come to see you?
You, look at you. Paul, your name's Paul, right?
Yes, Paul.
You're still smiling.
Are we friends?
Yes, we are.
It's just the craziest thing. I was not expecting to see Prince Harry this morning.
It's not a royal tour, but the Duke and Duchess's 3 days in Melbourne have had a very royal flavour, with appearances related to mental health and children's health, and this morning, Indigenous culture. But there have been no meetings with dignitaries or political leaders. Today, the first sign of police since the couple arrived, briefly keeping their distance at the Yarra, then a few to help with crowds at Swinburne, where Meghan had a message of hope.
Every day for 10 years, I have been bullied and attacked, and I was the most trolled person in the entire world, man or woman. And I'm still here. My wish for you is that you continue to be who and how you are.
Their final Melbourne stop, a private paid keynote address from Prince Harry at a workplace mental health summit at Melbourne Park.
We waved at them and we could see them waving back. Yes. It was really fun.
Their next waves will be in Sydney, their final Australian stop before a flight out this weekend. Paul Dowsley, 7 News.
You see? Report the facts, dispute the lies. That's simple. And that Paul guy, Harry will always remember him. Oh, Paul. He was nice. He was smiley. Who wants to bet that if they come to Australia again, he will ask for Paul? Or maybe even he might ask ask for him, reach out to him, find him. I want to talk to him. This is how you. Isn't it better to build a good rapport with the Sussexes, who are the most famous royals, British royals, so that if they want to talk to people, they can come to you, and then you can become. They can invite you on their tours because they know you will report the facts. Then you become a very valuable person. That money that you're trying to make by spreading hate and clickbait, you can reverse that around because that money is not guaranteed. People are no longer people have caught onto the game. They know when bullshit is being spread. But now, because Harry likes you and trusts you, he will invite you. He will say, look, I have this thing I want to put in the media. Let me get that Paul guy that was always smiling. Let me get that Paul guy that came out and disputed. Oh, sorry, guys. Was it frozen? Sorry, I was talking. Is it frozen? Is it still frozen? Sorry. Is it still frozen, ladies and gentlemen? Electra Elfaz. Is it still frozen? I was just reporting. The video and the pic are frozen. I'm okay. You guys are not responding. I'm going to play this video. Let me know if you can see it.
Great Britain that are awful.
And I don't give a shit about the royal family. I don't give a shit about the royal family. I really don't. I am shocked that the viciousness in which they attacked her, and then we've got Nonce Andrew over there fucking in the backseat Andy.
Yeah.
Like, what? Save your fucking vitriol for him.
Well, this is my thing. Okay, 2 points here. For the English people, like the people that live in Great Britain, that are awful, horrific people to Meghan Markle, I'm like, don't be such a loser. Why are you obsessed with this monarchy? Harry, we all thought he was going to be the bad boy of our time and he settled down with the woman he loves. Just let them lie. If you are living in Australia or any other Commonwealth country and you are going to be a fucking to her because she exists, stop sucking King Charles's like that. It's so embarrassing. Don't do that. I hate it. Please. It's so embarrassing. You're so busy. How do you get it all done in a day?
I don't give a shit about the royal family. I really don't. I am shocked that the viciousness in which they attacked.
Okay, you guys are saying that you can't see me and that it's frozen. Can you see me now? Okay, encoding overloaded. Consider turning down video settings. What the hell? Apparently I need to turn down video settings. What? I don't know what that means. God almighty. Let me see if I can reduce the video settings, guys. Question, can you guys see my face? Am I moving now? Can you guys see me? Somebody has to respond. Can you guys see me moving? If you guys don't respond, I wouldn't know, right? So can somebody let me know if my face is still frozen? I can see your comment, Electra, but is my face still frozen? Can you see me? I can't see anybody responding, so I'm presuming that everything is fine now. I'm going to continue playing the video. Guys, I'm restarting the stream. Can you guys see me? Can you hear me? Are we babbling? I can't see the chat. Can you guys see me? If you guys can't see, oh god, no, I can't even see the chat. Oh, I really don't like when this happens because I can't tell if you can see me or not. OBS. I wish we had a better software because there's always one drama with this app. Now I can't even see the chat. Oh my god. And we're doing so well, ladies and gentlemen. If not, we'll have to continue the chat tomorrow because I don't know what the problem is. Guys, we're going to have to continue tomorrow. I am really sorry about this. I wasn't expecting this. Let me see if I can get... Let me see if I can see it on YouTube. One sec. I'm quiet because I'm trying to see if I can see you guys. If not, we're going to have to continue tomorrow at some point. Oh, what a disaster. Everything seems fine here. That's the problem. So I don't know. Oh God, is that what's happening? I'm on my channel now trying to see how this looks. I can see what you mean about the lag. Bloody hell, that is bad. Wow. Okay, guys, I don't know what the problem is, but I'm going to have to. Okay, Beatrice, you're saying you can see and hear me. Can you see and oh okay. Oh God. I can see myself move. Let's see if I can see you guys. If not, I'm going to have to continue tomorrow at some point. Can you guys hear me? Disaster. Everything seems fine here. That's the problem. So I don't know. Mhm. Let me reset it again. Mm. And we're getting on so well. Bloody hell. I don't understand why YouTube has a streaming problem. Whenever I'm on TikTok, I don't have these problems. I can usually talk for hours on TikTok. No problem at all. I don't know what the problem is with this YouTube channel. They were saying that YouTube has become difficult, so